you're off the heels of an awesome collaboration with the
Mm.
Undertaker. You went on his 6 feet under, and then he went on yours. You did a cool Hell in a Cell video. I think people should definitely go check out. But how did that collaboration even come about?
Ironically enough, um, we did our video probably we filmed the video during WrestleMania weekend.
Okay,
Like my YouTube partner Zach flew in to Philly just because we knew all the guys, the guys we were gonna, have bring on our show were gonna be in this one location. So we used that as kind of a base camp.
got
But
it.
while we were there, we did a video that it was something titled like my explaining my feud with the Undertaker, and we did it for one reason, and we knew going into it, we were like, at the end, people don't realize on a YouTube video at the very end, that's probably your most expensive real estate on a YouTube video,
Okay.
where you're throwing to another video in your arsenal, because that's if 200,000 people watch your video and you throw them to and if you throw 20,000 of those 200,000 to a video that they don't know you have, then that's just more money for you in the long run. That's more views.
Yeah.
People think that YouTube is all about subscribers. Subscribers is a vanity play. It means nothing in the long term. YouTube is all about how much you can keep people on your content. And but we knew, we were like, let's at the end of this video, let's throw to Undertaker's channel. So
Yeah.
in essence, we're taking that valuable real estate at the end of our, and we're throwing to someone else. And we did that on purpose. We said, hopefully this will get Taker's attention. And who knows, maybe one day we'll get to work with Taker. Not thinking it would actually happen. It was basically just a hope and a prayer.
Wow.
And come to find out, not only did that video help, but he had already been watching. And I still can't believe I'm saying this. He told me that our channel was one of his, driving forces to getting started. It was one of the things he looked up to, which my pea brain can't fathom the Undertaker, looking up to anything I do, but it was an honor. But right about 2 months ago, I get hit up by Chris Van Vliet, who
Hmm.
said the Undertaker's guy Matt Lyda, he'd like your information. Can I give it to him? And I'm like, and I think I texted him back something like, now we're all good with guests. And then I was like, yeah, of course you can give it to him. And Matt and I had a great that day. Matt and I talked for probably the better part of an hour, and just laid out a plan. And 2 weeks after that, I was in Texas and spending 3 days with him, and it was just a whirlwind experience. Like, think about this: the way we did it was, I flew in and we had dinner that night. Then the next day was going to be our day to work. I met Taker at his studio at 10. We filmed the channel for 6 feet under from 10 to 12. And then he was bringing Godfather in to do Godfather. And then after that, he was going to meet me at his house at 4.
Okay.
So we get there at 4, and we filmed our, the Hell in the Cell breakdown video till 6. And I'm thinking Taker's going to be like, well, good catching up with you. I'll see
Yes.
you down the
See ya.
road.
Yeah.
And I'll be out there at 6:05. We didn't leave his house until 11:30.
Wow.
He's driving me around on his damn,
I
on
saw
his,
that golf cart or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you want to see my 15 acres? I'm like, yep, I
Damn.
sure do. And we were on that thing for an hour. Then his kid is like, his son's the cutest little, it's both of his kids.
Oh,
His daughter is, all right, so his daughter's a football, she plays football. And they were like, oh yeah, she's the quarterback. And I thought she was going to throw like a girl. Oh no, she's like good. She was like hitting me with 30-yard pass patterns.
you got to
She
back
was
up a
throwing,
little bit. Yeah.
he was throwing a tighter spiral than I was. I was like, my God, it kind of caught me off guard. And then his son's like, maybe you want to see my room? And I'm like, I don't know if your dad really wants me in his house. And he's like, yeah, go and show it to him. Next thing I know, his daughter's asking me, you want to see my dad's steam shower? And I'm like, I'm 100% sure your dad doesn't want me in his bedroom and in his bathroom. He's like, yeah, you can see it. And then so think about this. So I not only had dinner with Taker, didn't think that was going to happen. Not only was on Taker's channel, 6 Feet Under, check it out, subscribe.
Yeah.
Didn't think that was going to happen. Had him on my channel, check that video out. But I got Undertaker explaining to me how he laid out his steam shower. It's just, it was a whirlwind. And I'm like, how did this happen?
Insane.
Like,
Insane
how did this
story.
happen?
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
interesting to hear your take on it too, because like as fans, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but you see two wrestlers who had something going on, 20 years ago hanging out. You're like, oh, they probably kept up over the years or whatnot. But it's cool to
No.
hear you say that it was just as shocking to you as it was to a lot of people, and just as cool too. A lot of people requested that collaboration, I know, on both channels. So to make that
Yeah.
happen and give that to them. What would Maven of 2001 say if you told him 20 plus years later, Undertaker is going to be basically giving you your flowers for succeeding so much on this venture?
No chance. No chance. There's no way. Why?
Right.
What can I bring? What can I offer him? Like
Yeah.
what? And the fact that he asked me to do the fact that all this came, because they came to us and we didn't go to them. I still can't like
Right.
believe that. And I like when I sat down to do his show, the first thing he said was, you were the most requested guest. And I can't, I'm like, no way.
No.
No, there's no chance. Like, why? And but I hadn't seen him in probably 15 years, and it's literally like we just picked up where we left off.
That's so awesome.
It's
And
crazy. Yeah.
the video that people should definitely go check out, that Hell in a Cell video. I watched it yesterday when it dropped. Great
Did you
video.
like it?
I loved it. I really loved the watch along process. It reminded me
Yeah.
of the true crime one that you did with Devon.
Ah,
Thought
yeah.
was I thought that was genius too, because there is a lot of stuff you can go into with true crime with wrestling, like merge that genre. But yeah, the Hell in a Cell video was great. What was it like, first of all, sitting there alongside Undertaker watching one of his matches because he's such an expert?
Oh gosh. Well, at first it was tough figuring out which one to do.
Right.
And so because I give my partner Zach 100% of the credit on this. This was our thought process. Because eventually, and I recognize with the channel, eventually I can't tell, like my stories are going to run out.
Yeah.
There's but so many ways I can show what was in my wrestling bag or what was like doing this or that or whatever. So eventually we're going to have to about face and come up with just different forms of content. And one of our ideas is I I love just catching up with people, and I think I can like bring out people's funny side or serious side or whatever.
Yeah.
But Zach and I went there, and we didn't know what we were going to do. One of the things Matt prepped us on, he's like, "Listen, there's some things Taker just is he just wants to protect," and I'm like, "No problem, I get it. If we ever bring up anything that he is not comfortable with, just have him tell me and we will not put it in, no problem." So knowing that I was going to do 2 hours of an interview style with him, and then knowing he was going to do, probably 4 hours between being on both Chris Van Vliet's, because he did Chris's channel and then Chris was on his channel.
Right.
So that's 6 hours of an interview style with Taker. At that point, Zach and I are like, what more? There's no other questions we can ask. To do another interview would be overkill.
Yeah.
So then, we sit down and we're like, well, what can we do with them? We knew people liked the mass transit video that you brought up.
Mhm.
So your obvious mind goes to, well, do Hell in a Cell with him and Mick.
Yep.
Okay. Him and Mick sat down and watched that match and did
Okay.
that together. What am I
Gonna
bringing
yeah.
how am I outdoing that?
Right.
I'm not. And out of respect, I'm not touching that. So Zach had the idea. He's like, Well, the year before that, there was the Hell in the Cell with him and Shawn, and yeah, and I'd forgot. I watched that match years ago, but I'd forgotten it. And Zach sent it to me, and to me, I said, "This is it," because not like the match with him and Nick was great and it's legendary, but it's legendary for different reasons. Whereas the match with him and Shawn, it's legendary for all the right wrestling reasons.
Mhm.
Shawn told an amazing story. Taker told an amazing story about trying to finally getting his hands on him. And the cell was, a character in itself, whereas I now got you. And I knew we had the right one, Jonah, when we sat down and Taker, like his eyes lit up and he said, "Man, I haven't seen this in years." He's like, and then he said, "This is one of my favorite matches of all time." And
Nailed
at
it.
that moment, I
Yeah.
was like, "We nailed it. Yep, we nailed it." And you know what? There wasn't one time, not once, that I brought something up or asked something or Zach inflected, "Hey, talk to this." That he was like, "Yeah, I'm not comfortable with talking that." Not one. And to me, that was just, you
Yeah.
know, and to tell me as a wrestling fan, Taker goes in more depth than you thought he would, doesn't he?
Absolutely. There's one moment where you ask what story you're trying to tell just by attacking the cameraman, and that like immediately gripped me because I was like, "Whoa!" Like I didn't even. You think about obviously they want to get the door open and there has to be a way to do
Yep.
it, but him taking you through the thought process
Yep.
of attacking the camera and getting him down, and then even when he was like, hold on a second. He's selling good. He's not selling like a worker. But then he was like, hold on, maybe he's not selling enough there because he was just
Yeah,
completely dead.
he
Like
did.
it's so cool to see inside that
Yeah.
mind. I mean, 30 plus
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. And I love the fact that he's been in so many legendary matches that this match just slipped his mind.
Yeah,
And seriously, watching his eyes light up with, watching what he did 30 years ago,
right.
I just inside, I was just like, yes, we picked the right one.
No, you
And
definitely did. As a wrestling fan, I could say that was very cool to watch him go over one. And I didn't even realize that was the first Hell in a Cell match.
yeah,
Like I
I didn't
totally
either.
like
Zach,
you definitely go to Mick Foley and Undertaker, I think, when you like revisionist history, all that, like you just think back.
yeah, and
But
I didn't either. But when Zach was trying to sell it to me, he's like, "Listen, this is the first Hell in a Cell, so we got that. This match, Taker told us that Mick Mick went to him and wanted to outdo this match. So we get the Taker Mick match because of Hell in a Cell 1 with Shawn. And
yeah,
it's just like all the pieces of a puzzle going together.
connecting. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And then having him explain what we were thinking. And he even stopped me at that one point and was like, "Yeah, you see there, it takes a trained eye, but Sean's calling a spot."
Yep.
Inside, I'm just like, I can't believe he's saying this. Like, I can't believe it. But he's just like Matt Lyda. I got to know him, Taker's partner,
Yeah.
and I tell him, and I even text him this yesterday because we got a comment on our channel where people were just thanking us. They were like, "I like this is a Taker I never thought I would get," and that's a lot. A lot of that credit goes to Matt. Matt's the one who had the vision because Matt said he would go on hunting trips with him or
Mhm.
do charity events with him for the vets, and Taker would tell these stories. And yeah, Taker's great, but Mark Calloway,
Ooh,
he's so damn entertaining.
yes.
That night when we went out to dinner, once the restaurant was empty, he starts telling us a story, and a story I didn't even know about. You should have seen. There were like 12 and there's and Midian's there, Godfather's
Mhm.
there, me, Chris Van Vliet, and all these chairs. It's literally like when you were in kindergarten and your teacher was about to hold up a book and read a story and
Yeah,
all the
story
and
time.
everybody wanted to get close. It was like that. But then Taker's so captivating, like he's such a good storyteller. It would be a sin if now that I know what he can do, it'd be a sin if he wasn't doing it because he's just so good. He's so good.
It's such a different side of him from growing up. He was the first thing that I saw when flipping through the channels and like discovering wrestling was Undertaker. He gripped me
Yeah.
into wrestling, and seeing this different side of him years later is really cool.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interviews.